In Changeling, magic is tied to the ancient realm of the dreaming, which is where the Fae come from to begin with. Spells in Changeling are called cantrips, and cantrips are powered by glamour, and glamour is a changeling's connection to the dreaming. Spells are called cantrips, but the different categories of cantrip are called arts. Any kind of modifier to what or who you can affect with a cantrip is called a realm. And a bunk is a ritual a changeling has to perform in order to cast their cantrip. Glamour is an expendable resource that the changeling uses when casting. So spellcasting, or using arts, is pretty complicated to newcomers. I'll do my best to explain what I can, but I can't promise that I'll remember to do everything. So cantrips are performed exactly like rolls. Your ranks in an attribute plus the level of the cantrip give you your dice pool. Your ranks in the different arts determine which cantrips you can cast, and your ranks in the different realms determine what you can affect with it. With most cantrips, your number of successes determines how long and how powerful the spell effect is. Cantrips and arts start on page 171 of your book. Before we get into the different arts, let's give an example of casting a cantrip. Player 3 decides that she wants to use the Fugue cantrip to remove some of the memories of some mortal who cut her off in traffic. So Fugue is a cantrip in the Chicanery art, meaning that player 3 needs to roll her dice pool from her manipulation attribute. Because Fugue is a 3rd level cantrip, we add 3 to whatever her stat would normally be here. Let's say that her manipulation is 4, giving us a total dice pool of 7, a pretty good chance at success. Because the mortal who cut her off in traffic is a total stranger, we need 4 ranks in the Actor's realm, which deals with mortals. To keep things simple, let's say that our changeling definitely has the ranks in the realm she needs. And before we can cast the cantrip, we need to assign a difficulty to what we're doing. The difficulty of a cantrip is the target's banality plus 4, or the changeling's banality plus 4, whichever is higher. And don't worry about banality right now. All you need to know is that it is a feature of the game. So let's pretend that our difficulty is 7. The mortal has 3 banality, and we add 4 to the total. One more thing we need to determine is our bunk. A bunk is a ritual that the changeling performs to assist with casting their spell. The harder the bunk is to perform, the easier the spell becomes to cast. Your storyteller determines how effective your bunk is at reducing difficulty. Let's say that player 3's bunk is a level 1 bunk, meaning that our difficulty goes from 7 to 6. The final thing we need to worry about, and the most important, is your changeling's glamour. So glamour is an expendable resource that you can use to power your cantrips. The glamour costs can be found on page 205 of your book, and there are far too many modifiers for me to sit here and list for you. What I can tell you is that because our target is a pure mortal with no connection to the dreaming, our cost is 1 glamour, because we're using a bunk. Let's put that all together. We know we can cast our cantrip because we have the right realm. We know our dice pool is 7. We want to perform a level 1 bunk, and our target difficulty is 7, and our glamour cost is 1. Let's see what that looks like. Player 3 looks at the target and decides to cast. She spends 1 point of glamour before doing anything else. Then she performs her bunk, rubbing a pencil eraser. The storyteller decides that that's a level 1 bunk, so he reduces the difficulty from 7 to 6. So now player 3 has everything set up, and she rolls her 7 dice, because we have a 7 dice pool, against a difficulty of 6. We have 2 successes, because we rolled a 1. So according to our book here, 2 successes means that our target has lost a memory, such as what did they have for lunch, or what was their name, something unimportant, and they can lose it for up to 1 minute. So that's spellcasting. It's pretty difficult, but it's not all that bad, I think. There are certainly more complicated systems out there, and when it comes to using your cantrips in Changeling, it's just a matter of practice. Just like some of my favorite games, it has a learning curve to it. But practice makes perfect. You'll learn the game soon enough, and maybe one day you'll enjoy it as much as I do. See you next time.